Yeah, it looks like everyone. So nobody can hear me. Can you hear me on this? Okay, so everyone has to agree to be recorded. Is that what you're saying, Gabby? Okay. So if anybody wants to speak, you need to unmute yourselves.
Yeah, if you unmute, then it also gives you the option to agree to being recorded.
Right.
Okay.
It would be nice if we could see everybody on the team. You know, we are a team here. Oh my God. See, there we go. We're just going to guilt every single person into this.
I don't think you are. Oh,
There
yeah,
we
you've
go.
got Tom.
He just shouted at me from across the room, so I had to.
You're not getting Frank.
See. Look at this. This is like Smithers' team at its finest.
Yeah.
Michael would be so proud of all of us except for one. This is like the Brady Bunch, if anybody knows that reference. I think Olivia and Keith do. Yeah.
Sorry, just be one more second. I'm just trying to find the share button on my Teams thing. It's not there. Give me just 2 more seconds. It was there before I accepted. Just give me 1 more second. Okay, I think I've done it now. Teams doesn't show me what I'm seeing, so can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your Cvent Smithers first page.
Perfect. Amazing. Let me put this there. Alrighty. Okay, did you guys say we have everyone who we are expecting to have in the session?
I think so.
Okay, let's go ahead and begin then. Good afternoon or good morning to everyone. I think we have some US colleagues. Welcome to your Cvent training. If you guys have not seen or met me before, I have on a Cvent t-shirt. It looks like I'm wearing a random t-shirt. It is a professional Cvent t-shirt. But my name is Keegan. I'm the lead learning and development specialist at Cvent Europe. And basically my job is to teach and train on how we use our products. I feel like I've seen all of these faces before, so I don't know that anyone's new to me. What we're going to be doing. Oh, you are. Hi, Stefan. How are you? Steven.
Yeah,
Stefan.
good, thanks.
Did I say it right? Is it Steven or Stefan? I always get the PH
yeah,
wrong.
Stephen.
Stephen. Oh, nice to meet you, Stephen. Okay, let's go ahead and begin today's session. I know we have 2.5 hours scheduled. I don't think we'll actually use the entire 2.5 hours. But what we're going to be doing in today's session is exhibitor management. So my objective today is to ensure that you guys understand overarchingly what exhibitor management within Cvent does. And then we'll actually go through the setup in this session. So similar to when I came on site, we're going to kind of create this from start to scratch really quickly and answer any questions that you guys have. Before we kind of hop in, I'm curious to know if anyone already has anything in their mind. I know exhibitor management is relatively new to you guys, but I'm wondering if anyone already has any questions, any specific thing that they want to see in exhibitor management before we go ahead and get started. As always, you guys know I like to pivot, so it just helps me understand where you guys are with what you want to understand. If everyone's like, hey, Keegan is new, just show us what you have to show us. That's also fine. But I like to check before we start just to see if anyone has any specific thing they wanted to get out of today.
I would like to know, are you going to be showing us just how we set up an exhibitor or how we can ask the exhibitors to set themselves up?
Both. We'll do both of those today.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's, I'm going to be selling sponsorship across this. So for me, it's more about understanding what functionality will be available to like our delegates that I can sort of use as a promotional tool.
Gotcha. Okay, that's actually quite helpful. I'll make sure to roll some of that into as we talk today. All
Thank
right,
you.
let's hop into the content. Thank you guys for that. Let's hop straight into the content then. In terms of what we're doing today, just a quick forward-looking statement that I always need to pause on. You guys would have recognized that our branding in Cvent, our color scheme, and some of the UX is completely different than when we were on site. So just a little forward-looking statement that says basically we may change the platform due to a variety of factors. Quick agenda, just 4 items. I've split this up into a little bit of an overview. Really, I'm just level setting in the overview. Then we'll go through the setup of exhibitor management. We'll look at how you deal with the exhibitors themselves, and we'll look at some specific exhibitor and site settings for exhibitor management as well. And I'm going to apologize, my voice is struggling today. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'll try to make sure it's as clear as possible for you guys. A little bit of an overview into exhibitor management, Cvent exhibitor management. Exhibitor management is simply our functionality that helps you manage your exhibitors. And in product, so in the actual product, it's slightly different depending on the features you have within your account, the features you enabled within the event itself, and then which type of registration or event you are actually having. For example, I'm running an event on the Attendee Hub. And if you were at our sessions before, you remember the Attendee Hub is both our event app and the attendee website where you stream the event. If I'm using the attendee hub, my exhibitors can have things like virtual meetings on the attendee hub one-on-one with attendees. Versus if I am not using the attendee hub, maybe I'm just having them viewable during registration. They don't have any pieces where they can communicate with attendees, they being the exhibitors. You also have the option, and you'll see this as we go through. I'll make sure you see all of the options, but you have the options to have exhibitors collect information from delegates. You also have the option to use lead capture within Cvent, which I'll talk at a very high level about. It's not a part of today's training, but based on Stephen, what you said, I think maybe it's something that's a bit relevant to you. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a preview, a visual preview of what it would look like. Again, we're going to set all of these pieces up as we go today, but this is what exhibitor management looks like to you in the back end. It's
Keegan,
where,
sorry, can
go
I
ahead.
interrupt? The lead
Yeah,
capture,
yeah,
is that part of our package? Do you know?
I can find out for you.
Okay, thank you.
You will have, so to be clear on how I'm answering that question, lead capture is a part of exhibitor management, but if you have lead licenses is what I'll check, because the licenses itself is what you need to then get from us to say, we want 100 licenses or 200 licenses in this contract term. So to be clear, that's what I'll check for you, not necessarily if you have lead capture, because it's an additional app. As long as you have the licenses, you can use it with exhibitor management.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. I actually just need to write that down. All right, you want to know the amount of licenses if you have any. Got it. Okay, so again, just a really quick view for you to see what it kind of looks like. From the front end, you have the option to see all of your different exhibitors and manage them. You also have the exhibitors option to see themselves. To Arthur's point, exhibitors have the option to either be signed up completely, you are registering their booth staff, their admins, you're setting up the display of their exhibitor portal if you're using the attendee hub. And you have a self sign up option where the exhibitors can sign themselves up. They can create their own collateral. They can add their welcome videos, everything that you are able to do. One thing that you should keep in mind as we continue through, just like the regular registration in Cvent or the attendee hub, there's generally not a hard yes or no in Cvent. A lot of the answers to the questions are if you give them the option to do so. Do your exhibitors automatically have a virtual booth? No, but they can if you give them the option to do so. Are your exhibitors able to create, edit, update their profile that is visible to attendees? They can if you give them the option to. So I kind of want to call that out pretty much everything that we go through in terms of settings are based on what you as the planner set up in the settings of your event. And again, we're going to do it from start to scratch. So I'll make sure all of that is super clear for you. Just some examples I wanted you to see before we go in, because when we go in and create, I'm obviously creating one thing today, but I wanted to show you how different attendees or different clients are actually using exhibitor management and displaying it to your attendees. So exhibitor management, like I said, you are setting up the exhibitors or sponsors if you put sponsorship levels. And you can see on the actual exhibitor page, this is attendee facing. You're able to set those exhibitors up to show either just statically, you're able to add things like categories and add filtering options for them. You're even able to group them as well if you wanted to. And then I just unhid this slide really quickly. Just wanted to make sure this is in your recording because we mentioned lead capture. It's kind of a hand in hand with exhibitor management if you want your exhibitors to walk away with leads. So 2 examples I'm going to give you. I'm using the Attendee Hub. And if anyone was not in our Attendee Hub trainings, the Attendee Hub is the actual event itself. You have the event app on the hub, which is the physical app people take around to your events. And you have the attendee website, which is where you do the streaming. So you have your live streams, you have your webinars. Both components make up the Attendee Hub. So when I'm referring to the Attendee Hub, I'm referring to both the app and the attendee website. So I'm on the attendee website of the hub. So I'm watching this session or this event virtually. I then send a contact message to an exhibitor. I might even just visit that exhibitor's page. Lead capture is turned on so that we can, as the planners, say to an exhibitor, 25 people viewed your exhibitor profile, 3 people tried to contact you. You can now pull a report with their details. Again, as the planner, you determine what details they can capture, whether it's just first name, last name, email, maybe it's actual contact information about the delegate. By contrast, the more traditional way, as you can see in that picture, I am on site. We've added a QR code for the delegates on their badge, or if we're using the event app, so the Attendee Hub's event app has a QR code for each attendee native. It's built into the app. So either on my badge as an attendee or the QR code in the app, the exhibitor scans with their lead capture device. You can have them purchase a device or rent a device or just use their own device and download the lead capture app. That registers as a lead. So an attendee walks up to their booth, they scan their details. And again, as the planner, you determine what information from that transaction they are able to take away. So they don't just get everyone's information just like that. You determine how you are going to provide that. We're going to talk about packages as well. You're able to create exhibitor packages, and you're also able to create their profiles one by one. A package could be something like you will have 5 lead capture licenses to use. You'll be able to update your profile. You'll be able to update the welcome videos on your booth, your virtual booth. Whereas if you have maybe the default or lower package, you don't have access to lead capture, or maybe you just have 1 lead capture license. We didn't anticipate lead capture being a part of this session, but I can definitely go into lead capture if you've not seen it before, and I can show you what that looks like. Basically, each event is going to have a unique code. The exhibitor, as an admin, you give them a code for them as an admin to use that lead capture. They log into a lead capture device with that code. It brings up your event, and then they're able to scan their leads. That's how Cvent lead capture works. That information then goes back to exhibitor management, where the exhibitor logs in, and they can then download any leads that they have scanned. So that's how the lead capture and exhibitor management ecosystem work. In
So
terms
just
of,
to
sorry,
clarify,
yeah, go
if
ahead.
we didn't have a license for an event, they would have to do it that second way, where they would have to scan a QR code like at the booth, and then they could then download a report later that has all of the contact info of anyone that has scanned the app at the booth.
Not exactly correct. So both instances they need lead capture licenses for. If they're doing it online and someone just sends like a contact us and they want to pull that detail after, then those come through as leads. If they want to scan physically on site with the QR code, whether on the badge or in the app, that then comes through as leads. So they would have to have a license in order to download either of those. Now, a workaround people are being used. I'm feeling like the question you want to ask me is how do we use it if we don't have lead capture licenses? Yeah,
Yes.
a workaround, a workaround that a lot of people will do because as the planner within Cvent, if someone does go to a booth, you can still see that information, right? So a lot of clients, if they want to circumvent that lead capture, will kind of just pull reports manually for the exhibitor with the people who've spoken to them with their actual leads and send it to them. But it's not native to the lead capture ecosystem. They can't go back and pull that information as it kind of pulls through. And then they also don't have access to notes. In the lead capture app, they can make notes. They can also qualify leads. So you can set up questions or they can set up questions to determine whether someone they're scanning is an actual qualified lead. So all of that lead capture ecosystem they won't have access to, and you won't be able to, if you don't use lead capture, assign verifications for them to say this is an actual qualified lead versus this is not a lead. If they want to have, for example, a meeting with an attendee one-on-one on site, they put all their meeting notes in lead capture. It kind of summarizes it for them and sends it with the attendees details. If we don't have any lead capture licenses, then they don't have access to that. It's just Keegan went up to your booth at 4 o'clock. That's pretty much all they get if you're going around that lead capture.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course, no worries. Okay, so let's talk about the general flow. This is how I would normally recommend we set up exhibitor management. I would always start by setting up your settings, then creating any packages if you wanted to offer packages to your exhibitors, then setting up your portal. Each event that you create has its own exhibitor portal for the exhibitors to log into. However, the exhibitors, when they log in, can see several events in their portal. Does that make sense? You brand your event, but as an exhibitor, I can go in and see all of the events that I have been added to as an exhibitor. We'll look at the exhibitor portal today. I'm just kind of setting the scene for you. Once you kind of set that up, we normally recommend then you set up your booths, your emails, and then sign up your exhibitors. Now, in the demo, I'm going to sign up my exhibitor first because I want you to see how things change throughout the process. So that's the only thing that's going to be slightly different. Event support is just talking about things that they should have during the event. And then that post event, I'm referring to the surveys that they can automatically receive. Okay. Any questions so far? All right. I am going to hop into your account. And the first thing I'm going to do is really quickly today create an event. I wanted to do everything from scratch with you guys. So I'm going to create an event really quickly. I actually created it right before our training. Just make sure I can see it. Okay, I don't see it now. So let me just recreate a new one. So I'm really quickly going to create an event. I'm just going to use one of your templates here. And I'm going to call it Exhibitor Management Event. Now, I'm going to say that this is a hybrid event because I want to show you guys both the virtual and the non-virtual options. This doesn't change anything in terms of setup. It's just that if I did not choose either virtual or hybrid, if I were using the attendee hub and I wanted my exhibitors to have a virtual booth on the attendee hub, the system would not allow it. So I'm choosing virtual or hybrid just to make sure I have those virtual options to show you. I'm gonna have the event be what is today, the 27th of July.
Sorry, Keegan.
Go
Sorry,
for
could you just repeat that again?
Yeah. What did I say? Virtual and hybrid. So what I was saying is specifically if in the attendee hub, you want that exhibitor to have a virtual booth so that I'm an attendee using the attendee website. Maybe it's a webinar program or it's a hybrid event, but I'm at home. I've gone onto your attendee website. I see that Cvent is an exhibitor. And in the exhibitor booth, Cvent can have virtual one-on-one meetings with attendees who want to speak to them. If we were to say that in our event, it's an in-person, basically anything except virtual or hybrid, it would not allow us to have that virtual booth. Because if we say it's an in-person event, it means we're not having any virtual things happening in our event. So virtual sessions, for example, we can't create if we say the event's in person. So the note was just because I want to have that virtual booth, I'm going to say that's either virtual or hybrid event. So I have that
Fine.
option.
So if I've got an in-person event, but I have virtual booths, I need to be hybrid format.
Exactly. Exactly
Okay.
right. Okay, I'm going to say that this event is happening today until the 29th. Let's change this to my time zone. Anyone who's not been in an event creation training with me, remember you don't use GMT. It's the only time zone that does not change with daylight savings times. And I'm going to go ahead and create the event. While the event is creating, I want to talk about your templates. Right. It is 2. Let's go for 2:30. Templates. Remember in Cvent, anything that you build in a template except for attendee data will come across. So if you have settings that you use for your exhibitors, if you have an exhibitor portal that you want to brand in a certain way, like with the Smithers brand, my recommendation is to build that into your template so that when you copy over your event, all of those kind of fundamentals are already built for you, and now you're just adding your individual exhibitors as opposed to creating everything in exhibitor management from scratch. Okay, I just want to make sure, Stephen, I'm sorry to pick on you, but I feel like you are maybe the only face that I can see I don't recognize from before. Have you built a registration event before? Is this brand new to you, what you're seeing, or are you relatively familiar with what you're seeing here on the screen?
I mean, yeah, I won't really be getting involved in that kind of area. I just sort of sell sponsorship packages. So, I mean,
Perfect.
it's always useful to understand how the operations team put things together so I can get a clear understanding of what is and isn't possible. But for me, I won't actually be getting involved in so much of the sort of creating the actual. I'll just be selling the packages rather than
Gotcha.
ensuring that they, deliver what's offered.
Got you. Okay, that's super clear. In that case, I won't do a bunch of navigation. What I'll do is go straight into it. So I'm going to go into my event. Exhibitors is already turned on because it's turned on in the template. But to be clear, in my event features, I would have come in and I would have turned on exhibitors just by clicking add here. So I have exhibitors here. The first thing I want to do is hop into my exhibitor list. And again, this is one of the last things that you would do is add your exhibitors. I'm doing it first because I want to log into the portal to show you guys what a kind of standard non-branded, non-setup portal looks like and the options the exhibitor has versus as you're setting it up and the final result, because I think it makes a bit of a difference and you'll see some nuances that your exhibitors might pull you up on if everything's not set up correctly. So in my exhibitor list, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say create an exhibitor. Let's create Cvent as an exhibitor today. So I'm going to add all of my information that I have. So I'm going to add a logo for Cvent. Actually, let's go with Blue Co-op today. Best practice, you're going to notice if you don't stick to our recommended pixel sizes, it does let you resize. But as a best practice, we do put next to the images what the recommended pixel sizes are. I would recommend the exhibitors stick to that because sometimes it can stretch the image out or have it be a bit pixelated if it's not the correct sizing. I'm going to add a virtual booth banner as well. I think this will be a good example of something being pixelated just to show you. So I'm going to stretch my banner out. And then we'll put in the exhibitor details. So I'm going to say this is C, Blue Corp. not Cvent. I'll skip the description. Let's add the tagline. Page will start here. And scrolling down, you see this virtual meeting URL and virtual host key. So these, for example, are if my virtual booth or if this exhibitor wanted to have a virtual booth, I can start adding the virtual URLs here. I'm going to skip that for now. I'm going to come back to that. Next, you'll notice I can choose what type of booth I am creating. So I haven't created my booth types yet. Again, I just want to get an exhibitor in to show you the different options they'll have. But if I had created my booth types, I can assign a booth directly to the exhibitor. You also have the option for the exhibitors to request the booth that they want. If you have created a floor plan, they can see it in the portal, all of the open booths, and they can request a booth. So I want to show you all those different options. Next, I'm going to say that he's not a sponsor because I haven't created the sponsors yet. I can feature that exhibitor. So I'm going to say yes, feature them. This hidden one is a really important one to note if you have sponsors who should not be listed on your website, on your registration process in the attendee hub. You can hide them completely as well here. I'm going to skip the address. It's not required, but what is required is an admin. So every exhibitor has to have an admin. They do not have to be registered in your event, but their booth staff have to be registered in your event. The difference is an admin is someone who you can give permission to on the exhibitor portal to update their details, edit the profile of the exhibitor, pull lead capture information. Whereas a booth staff member is just going to be manning the booth. So if it's virtually, they can join the virtual booth from the attendee hub, or if it's on site, when they walk into the event, you can register or check them in and you know exactly where they should be. So I'm going to make myself an admin here. And here's a note for you. If you are testing in Cvent, you see how I've added that plus 24 right behind my email address. If you ever need to test something, you know, it generally only allows you to put your email address in once. If you had a +1 or +2, it allows you to keep using that email address as a unique email for your testing purposes. So that's just an insider tip here. All right, coming down, this is where I can say if I want them to be automatically added and also if I'm going to allocate any lead capture licenses. So off I can see already, it's saying I'm in your account. It's saying that you don't have any licenses to assign. I'm going to still follow up, but
So
this is
Keegan,
where you would
sorry,
normally add them.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm on the same page you're on, and I don't
Mhm.
see any of this allocated licenses.
So I'm using, good question. I'm using the admin user role. You guys have different user roles internally that might be preventing you from seeing it. So I'm going to assume it's based on your user role. Let me triple check. Your email address is
Hey, Bates.
abates@smithers.com,
Yeah,
right? So you have an
I don't have it
operations
either,
user
Arthur.
role.
you
If that makes you
don't.
feel better.
I have
I
a feel.
don't.
I have a feeling this is our licenses that we might not have access to this.
Mhm. Very likely. What I would say is, I feel like when I was on site, we were also working with user roles as well, right? They were still being worked on or created. So maybe this is a nuance that you need to ask to have rolled into your user role if
I
you need
do
those
know Emma and
licenses.
Chris have been setting things up, and I've been missed out on a lot of areas. I'm not sure other people. I think other people have as well as we're learning the system.
Yeah, it's a lot to segment when you're creating the user roles. So I think that's as you're teething problems, I'm going to call them not problems, but as you continue to teeth, I think you might see a little bit of those nuances needing to change. Okay, so don't worry about that. It's in your account. It's just not in your user role. All right, so I'm going to stop here and go ahead and say save. And that's me creating the exhibitor themselves. Now, the reason I wanted to create the exhibitor is I want to show you the exhibitor portal before anything is done. So I've created my exhibitor. Now, when I look at their profile internally, I can see an overview which tells me if they've done anything, and I've already received that email, which I'll bring across in a second. As the planner, you can assign tasks to your exhibitors. You can add their content. So if I wanted to, I can even come in here and say, let's upload a video to be on their homepage. Let's upload a file here. And let's go, that's a long video. Let's go for this video in my on-site resources. Open, and you can even choose a thumbnail. And again, we're adding these now and we'll see them when we actually look at the portal itself. Let's go with this image. I can feature the video on their profile, and I'll go ahead and upload. Okay, let's keep moving along. In the licenses tab, this is again another area I can add lead capture licenses just by saying add license. Again, I would just open by clicking plus or minus. In their staff, this is where I can see their booth staff or admins. I can create and customize their lead qualifying questions here. And again, this goes back to lead capture. If they're capturing leads, what are your qualifying questions? And then we have our lead capture settings as well. So this is where I can say, what information do they need to add into their lead capture device? I can make some fields required if I want to. And I can even require that they have to do those questions. I'll probably talk a little bit more about lead capture at the end. I think it might be relevant to you guys a bit more. Under the actions dropdown, notice I have the option to log in as the exhibitor as well. So if I needed to log in as someone, I can do so and make changes on their behalf. But let's close that. I'm going to refresh real quick. There we go. Under the actions dropdown on the top of my exhibitor list, you'll notice that I can import my exhibitors if I wanted to. And then we can also share a self-sign-up link. So Arthur, I think you who asked that question about can the exhibitors sign themselves up? They 1000% can. Again, I'm in my exhibitor list, actions dropdown, share sign-up link. I can copy that link, and there's two things within this link. The full link is kind of for those newer exhibitors that will sign them up to your event automatically. And if it's an exhibitor who already has an account and might say to you, hey, just send me the code for your event, it's the D4 number right below here. It's already in the actual full URL. But if someone says, hey, I just need your code because I already have a login to the exhibitor portal, you can just give them that code. I'm going to open this up in a new tab. And this is what the exhibitor portal is going to look like. So they will go ahead and create an account. So I'll create one here. Okay. And now it's going to ask me to go ahead and log in. I would have received an email for this. And then just to show you, this is what that welcome email looked like for when I created that exhibitor. They're automatic, so we would go ahead and edit that information as we need to.
Is this email the same email that myself or Olivia or Keith or Belinda would all send out? And can we make them individual per event?
Yes, you can edit it individually per event. And yes, it would be the same email that you guys would be setting up.
Okay, thank you.
Isn't that logging me in? There we go. So here, I've logged in to the exhibitor portal. I am going to collapse this menu, switch the event, and isn't it giving me more options? Hold on one second. It should have given me the option to switch the event. Let me log out. I might have used the wrong profile. One second. Just going to reset this password really quickly. While I do that, I'm not going to allow you guys to humor me as I reset the password. I'm just going to go in as Blue Corp and I'll log in as them. Okay. So this is what my exhibitor portal currently looks like for our event. I can see on my overview page as the exhibitor is completely blank. I have no leads yet. If I look at my tasks, I can see the generic or no task that have been assigned. I can see my profile, but notice there's no edit option here. If I scroll all the way down or all the way to the top, I can't edit this. I can't edit the content that I have here. I can just see the video that I uploaded as the planner, right? Nothing to do. So this is where it goes back to my point of you have the option completely of what the exhibitor will see and be able to do. I can even
quick question
go ahead.
again. Sorry,
Yeah,
you
no,
mentioned
go for it.
content, and I think Olivia is probably doing what I'm doing. Is kind of working along and creating an exhibitor page. I don't have content on mine. Is that because I didn't add content?
Where are you? Are you on the portal or
I'm
in
in my own event.
your event?
I'm in the portal on the same page you were just in, but I'm in a
Oh, wait,
different
yeah.
event.
Okay.
So you
Follow
have content under profile. I don't have content
at all. It might be
at all.
because we've not turned the feature on for you to add your content that your page isn't showing up. I would have thought you would have seen it, but it's likely because I added content. I added a video,
Okay, I
so there
didn't add
is
content.
content.
That's
Yeah,
probably why. Okay.
that'll likely be the reason. We can test it out when you add content, but
Okay.
I think that's the reason.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. Interrupt all you like. Okay, great. So we've seen the back end of the portal. Let's go back into the front end and let's actually set some things up. So let's talk about the options and giving it to the exhibitors. I'm going to, in my navigation panel, I'm going to go into settings, the settings tab. So I'm back into Cvent, I'm back in my event. I'm in exhibitors. I've come down into settings, and this is where we control the overarching settings for all of our exhibitors. So here I can say whether exhibitors are going to see tasks and if they can complete those tasks themselves. So I'll enable those tasks. If I come down, I can see which exhibitors, what's happening? Why isn't this scrolling? One second. There we go. Wasn't sure why that wasn't scrolling. So I can say which exhibitors can edit their profile. So if I say select exhibitors, notice it has this really great question. Do you want to always assign? Meaning I can have all exhibitors and any future exhibitors that I add with this option. It's one that a lot of planners miss, but what this means is if I create my settings after I've added exhibitors and I forget to add one or someone self signs up after, and I've not said always assign, and this new exhibitor also needed to complete tasks, they won't see the tasks, right? I would have to come back to my settings and give them individual access. Versus if I say always assign, it means that every exhibitor that I've currently added or will add in the future will automatically have all of those tasks to complete. And you'll see that option in pretty much almost all of the settings as we go through them. So I'll always assign and save. If I continue down, now I can say which of the fields in their profile can they edit. So I'll allow them to edit all of the fields, maybe except for their virtual booth banner. Maybe I want everyone to have the same virtual booth banner, and I'll go ahead and save those changes. If I come down, I'm still in the settings tab. Now it goes to the content. What content can the exhibitor create or edit? Video management. I'm going to let's select all feature here. I'll just give everyone access to everything. It scrolls you up to the top, which is a little bit of annoyance, but we'll just scroll right back down. File management. Do I want them to add documents? And remember, in documents, Cvent terminology, that's how we call attachments. So PDFs, PowerPoints, anything that they want an attendee to download. And then let's scroll back down. And then link management just means them uploading links themselves to their website or to their other organizational sites if need be. All right, I'm going to keep coming down. Next, we have our virtual booth option. Again, because I said it's a virtual or hybrid event, it allows me to turn on this virtual booth. I do want to call out, even if you do see it, sometimes if you select an in-person event, it might still give you the options to add the virtual booth or at least turn it on here in the settings, just because these are default settings that you're going to see. So I can say when you'll have a virtual booth. I'll say from the 27th, which is today. Let's have that from 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. And this is the daily time, so those booth hours will simply set up each day. We'll look at it from the front end in a second. Let's go back down. I can create sponsorship levels. So maybe I have platinum sponsors, diamond sponsors. Let's create another one.
So when we were making the exhibitor and the exhibitor list and it said add sponsorship and then it was like you haven't created sponsorship, so that's why nothing was here. So that's what this part
Exactly.
is.
Exactly
Okay.
right. Exactly right. Which is why I was saying I like to do the exhibitor as like one of the last steps. I just did it first because I wanted you to see the blank
Gotcha.
exhibitor.
And these sponsorship levels, we can't preset these for all of our events. They have to be done every event.
That's a good question. I believe they come across each time, but we can test that before we finish today. I'm pretty sure they do, but we'll test it. So those are my sponsorship levels. If I continue down, this is a good one. The booth staff. I recommend usually turning on the search for booth staff by email. How the booth staffs work, the booth staff member must be registered first in your registration event, and then the exhibitor in the portal assigns that person by searching usually their confirmation number and then adding them as a booth staff member. I generally recommend turning on this email search because everyone knows their email address, but that confirmation number is Cvent specific. Sometimes people might lose the email, they might delete the email, and as an admin, it might just be faster for them to just pull their people in via email as opposed to having to say, hey, what is your confirmation number from this event for me to add you as a booth staff? Continue down, this just says
So does
whether
that,
we
sorry, does
go
that
ahead.
mean
Go
that
for it.
the sponsor won't add their own delegates? We would add the delegates and then they would find the delegate and add them to their booth?
Not necessarily. That's one option. And I think that's very common as an option. But in the exhibitor portal, they can also register their booth staff. So they can, from the portal, say, I want to register a new member of staff. It will then take them to registration. They complete the registration and then they go back to the portal and then add the staff member again. So they technically still have that manual of I have to put in that confirmation number to find the staff member. But in terms of registering the staff member, they can do it themselves. It takes them to registration or the staff member can do it.
And we can assign how many people each company gets.
I do not believe you have a limit to your booth staff members. I will triple check, but I'm pretty sure you don't have a limit. You have a limit on the licenses, but not booth staff members.
Okay,
Is
so
it possible to put a limit though? Because we, with different tiers of sponsorships, we give them different amounts of tickets. So like we only would want them to have 2 people that they can register for free or 3 people they can register for free.
Right. So that's a good question, and it would be slightly a different part of the platform that you would gatekeep that. So you would gatekeep that in registration, not in the exhibitor area, because I have four
Okay.
people I'm registering. How most people manage that is by either registration types with capacities or event vouchers. I don't know that we talked about event vouchers when I was on site with you guys, but what an event voucher is in your, I'll show you. Let's take a tangent. So in your, oh, you don't have registration vouchers. So that's a feature we can maybe turn on for you because you don't actually have vouchers, which is not helpful for me saying it. But what a voucher is, right? If you imagine the discount code, it's similar, but it gatekeeps registration. So I create a voucher code called Cvent 12. I put a capacity of 12 on that voucher code. I give that to the Cvent admin and say, when your delegates are registering, this is your voucher code that you have to put in during registration. When they are registering their delegates, we can have that enable like free registration and tie it to a discount code if you're saying you give them an allotment for free. But the point of the voucher is it caps at that number. So when the 12th person is registered, no one else can register with that voucher code. So if you're giving them those free registrations, they would need that code basically to get the free registrations. They don't use that code, they would pay the usual registration amount if it's a chargeable event, right? That's generally how people are dealing with gatekeeping the amount of booth staff that admin can register.
And can we alter that? So if someone is speaking to Steve, one of the sponsors, and said, well, we have 12 sponsors, but 12 delegates tickets, can we increase that to 14?
Mhm.
Can we change that code? Or would
So
we have to create a new code?
you don't change the code, but the code itself has a capacity on it. So you would literally just update
The
the
capacity.
capacity. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me log into my account itself and I can show you.
And this voucher, event voucher, this is the
Mhm.
same for discounts, not just free tickets. So if we had a marketing, a media partner
Yeah.
or associations we work with, we can give them those codes with say 10%, 20%, 30%.
Yes, and to be clear, it's two things, the voucher and the discount. So you would create the voucher code, and then you can create a discount code and then limit it to either that voucher or the company or individuals. So you're putting a limit on your discount code, tying it to the voucher code. They're slightly different, but in Cvent, we have volume discounts. And
Okay.
we can create discount codes that are automatically applied with advanced filters.
Would you be able to show us how to do that?
Yeah, yeah. It sounded complex as I said it. It sounded like a lot of steps, didn't it? So in registration, I'm in my event, not your account. So in my account, in registration, I have these event vouchers, right? So I can say create voucher, and then what did I say? Cvent 12. And then I'll add a capacity of 12 and save. You can also type planner alerts to this so you're notified when the voucher code is at capacity or 50% at capacity or whatever. So that's the voucher code. For the discount code, I would go into fees. Do I have fees on in this event? I don't. So let's turn on fees. Okay. So now that I've turned fees on, let's go into pricing and discounts. All right, let's create a discount. I'll label this exhibitor discount. Let's make it active. Stackable, whenever you're using discount codes, be careful with it. It means that you can use one discount and several discounts together if it's stackable. So I'm just going to turn that off. And then scrolling down, we can have a discount code or a volume discount. Volume discounts just means the discount applies when you've purchased a certain number. So you're using group registration, for example. If you register 4 people in one transaction, you get a 25% discount. If you only register one person, you don't get any discount. So I'm going to use a discount code. We can put whatever we want in as the code itself. I'll call it exhibitor discount, for example. subtract an amount or a percentage, or you can even say charge a specific cost. So I'll subtract 20%. And then if I scroll down, we have the option to say automatically apply this discount. So I can say yes, so someone doesn't need to actually put the discount code in. And then if I scroll all the way down, we then have those advanced filters. So now I can say this discount code will only work in such and such a case. So for example, maybe we'll use company or email address, registration type if you've created an exhibitor specific registration type. So you have a registration type in your event of exhibitors. You say this discount code can only be used on that registration type. I don't have registration types at this event, but you would select it. Go ahead.
Could we do it so if we had a sponsor who sent the code out, say on LinkedIn on their socials, could we assign it so it links up to, so we know it's coming from them? I'm not sure I've said that very well.
Like you want to make sure, like if I put a discount for 30% off, you want to know that if Jane registered, the discount code Jane registers was from me as
Yes.
the exhibitor. Um, yes and no. So no, because there's no direct way to do it. So in our discount codes, we don't have reference IDs, which is normally what we would take as the.
Is there a way to track that Jane
Uh-huh.
used your discount code and not somebody else's, or would we just make different discount codes?
That's what I was going to say. The only way to do it is by the name of the discount code. That's the only way
Okay.
to be able to differentiate with the code itself.
Okay.
Okay, great. So we talked about that. I feel like we've closed the loop on that. Just one more note or thought that's in my brain. You can also combine filters. So maybe it's not just that you're an exhibitor. Maybe you're an exhibitor and your company is Cvent, for example, or you can even do it for specific people's names if you want to, first name author, last name Bates. So there's a lot of options that you can actually use here. And then, like I said, the point of this is if you use the automatically applied, once they meet those criteria, it just automatically does it. In your reports, you'll see the discount code that was automatically applied. Okay, let's close that then and minimize. Is that clear on the vouchers and discount codes? I'm going to make a note about the event vouchers and see if it's something we may want to turn on in your account. Okay.
Is that like an additional cost item? Is that why?
I'll be very honest with you, Arthur. I don't deal with contracts, so I don't
Okay.
know specifically what people charge for. It could be that it's just a feature that we just need to turn on and it's in
Okay.
registration. It could be paid. I'm not sure.
Okay, thanks.
No worries. I will circle up. What we'll do is I will
It
get
sounds like
all of
something,
these.
I think Olivia and Keith might agree. It sounds like something that would probably help us, the vouchers.
Yeah.
Yes, and it
Yeah.
looks like I don't have it either. So it probably is just
Okay.
something we have to toggle on.
Yeah. I will follow up with your account team. I do after all your trainings anyway, so they'll get the notes of things that you might want to activate as well. Okie dokie. Let's go back into the actual portal itself, the settings. So we're still setting up the settings. We took that tangent and we were on terminology. Great. So back into the settings, just to round out the different settings that we have. Do we want to show a cookie policy on the exhibitor portal itself? If I come down a bit more, we have CCPA. And this is a really good one, Attendee Hub Engagement Details Report. So again, talking about lead capture, talking about them being able to pull information. We can even have them see if someone clicked their banner, if someone visited their virtual booth, if someone clicked on their video. So we can pull all of those details down into their leads. This is just a lead capture setting. So are we allowing them to bring their own device? And you can see what the kind of standard costs for lead capture is here. If I scroll down, do we want them to do resource sharing and messaging? So with the messaging, with lead capture from their device, they can actually message an attendee who has been captured as a lead directly. So this is just saying, are we allowing them to do so? And if we are, which exhibitors are we allowing to do so? So really self-explanatory. We're just picking what we want them to be able to see about the attendee here who's marked or registered as a lead.
Quick question again, sorry. If you scroll up
Oh, go
just a
for it.
bit to the cost of the lead capture,
Yeah.
is that if we want this, that single app license, is that get billed to Smithers, or is that something that the exhibitor would then pay as a third party?
Great question. So the exhibitor is who pays these fees generally,
Okay,
and
so this would be an added on for sponsorship.
it's added on. But I want to, so yes, typically, but Cvent, very rarely do we give you a yes or no, because if you purchase licenses, you can just give someone a license without having them pay for the license. If they were in the portal, for example, and they wanted to purchase a license without going through you, they would be charged, and that money, for example, could go to Cvent directly. If you guys don't have, I think it's called cost sharing activated in your contract. If you do, then the cost is split between you and Cvent. If not, it just goes straight to Cvent. So it depends on what you guys have set up in the back end as to who actually gets the money itself. But from the exhibitor paying, yeah, they would pay it if they request it directly on the portal. If you have free licenses and you just assign them a license, like how we had the +1 before, that's me just assigning them a license, then they wouldn't pay for it through Cvent. But generally, planners are charging their exhibitors for those lead capture licenses. So they're assigning and then will charge outside of Cvent.
Okay.
Lots of nuances. All right. As we continue down, I think we've done all of the settings now. Before we go back into building the portal itself, I want to talk about packages. So packages allows us to do exactly what we just did, but instead of creating each exhibitor one by one and assigning pack like individually, you can have 4 lead capture license. You can edit your video. We can just create a package. In that package, it has all the settings and lead capture devices that they can have. And instead of individually going through for each exhibitor, we can just assign them packages. So for example, I'm going to create this as my platinum package. And then let's say it's for platinum sponsors as well. On the next page, I'll say what they can do, what permissions do they have. So they can edit their profile, they can edit their content. I give them option to edit everything, but you can see if I had maybe a silver package, I can say you can upload or edit your videos, but not your files and not the links. So I'm going to mark them as a featured exhibitor because they're platinum, and I'll allow them to get those inbound leads. I don't have any registration types in this event, but this is where I could say what registration type they have to be in order to get this platinum sponsorship package. So exhibitor registration type, for example. And again, here's where I can see how many leads they have within that package. So I'm going to give them, why don't we give them 1 lead capture license? And see if you don't actually have licenses, it just allows you to put 1 in the package because you're creating the package, not necessarily giving them the license here. Oh no, we don't want to reboot. Okay, so that's how we create our package. The last thing that I want to do, 2 more things, is let's create some tasks and then let's edit the portal and then we'll go back and look at the revised portal. So in the tasks, this is where I can give the exhibitors tasks. Create your profile, update the welcome video. You'll see some generic ones here already, but I'm just going to say create task. And maybe this task is purchase lead capture licenses. So actually have that be the name. And then here I will say, go into your portal and purchase the required number of licenses or contact Keegan directly for purchase inquiries. I'll make it required. I can then say, is it on or does this link to a specific page? So notice I can even say link to your booth staff page, but I'll link it to the purchasing of licenses page. I can assign it to specific exhibitors, so I'll always assign. And then if I scroll down, I can even give it a due date. I'm going to skip the due date. If I had an instruction maybe that I wanted to put, I can list it here as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and say add to task list. And now I've created another task for them to do. Why don't we also make this register task active? So I'm going to edit, and I'll just select for it to be active. And then let's assign it to all exhibitors.
How did you get that to save the task?
Right on the bottom, you say save. Sometimes right across the top, you need to edit the name, and that's not super clear for me. So I think that's sometimes what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've done the tasks. Last thing for us to do back in the navigation is booth management. Apologies. So within the booth management, this is where we are going to assign or create different booths for them to be able to select. Again, all of this is you are adding things that you actually want in your event. If you're not having booth maps or floor plans for them to select or purchase from, you just skip this part, right? But I'm going to go ahead and create some booths. So first, I'm going to create a floor plan. I'm going to upload that floor plan, and you don't have to upload the floor plan. I'm going to do it because it also then pushes into the event and the attendee hub. I'm going to say main conference floor plan here. And then let's upload that floor plan. This is your media library. So, oh, we still have a Cvent folder. Awesome. Let's add a new file. And here we'll go for this trade show floor plan that I have.
Can you add a floor plan? You said if you add a floor plan, that pushes into the attendee hub.
Yeah.
Can you have it so you add a floor plan, but it doesn't show in the attendee hub, but only on the app during the event?
Only on the app. So no. So the floor plan would show on both the attendee website and the app. You can say the floor plan either shows or does not show.
Okay.
But if you say it shows, it will show on both.
Okay.
Okay, let me go ahead and add that floor plan in. And we would do that from the attendee hub settings, not here in the exhibitor portal, as in hiding or having it visible. Okay, so I've added my floor plan. Let's go ahead and save. Okay, that's already saved. So I have my floor plan. Let's go ahead and add some booth types. So in my booth types, I'm going to say add booth type. Why don't we go for large booths or large booth? Maybe it's 25 square foot. And then I'll say this is a largest booth with 150-inch screen. And then let's add one more booth type. I'll call this one medium booth. See, this is 16 square feet. And I'll skip the description and say add booth. So I've added my different booth types. I can edit and delete them here. I'm going to go ahead and save. I have. Now let's go back to the booths themselves. In the booths themselves, I can go ahead and create my individual booths. So I'm going to create a new booth on the top right. Notice in the actions drop down, you can import them as well if you have them on a spreadsheet. So you don't have to do it one by one like I'm doing. But I'm going to say create booth. Why don't we call this one booth number 1. That should be a number sign. There we go. I can assign it to an exhibitor directly here, but I want to show you how we can have the exhibitors request the booth. So I'm not going to assign. Notice I can also hide this booth and make it unavailable. Maybe I'm saving it for a special person. I'll select the booth type. So this is going to be a large booth. And then I can determine of my exhibitors, which exhibitor type can select from this booth, right? Maybe this large booth should only be available to my platinum and diamond sponsors. So I would remove general sponsors and exhibitors with no sponsorship from being able to select or request this booth type. But I'm going to make it available for everyone. And let's go ahead and save in new. Let's do 2 booths. Let's do a second booth, booth number 2.
Quick question, sorry.
Go for it.
You've assigned, so say you've assigned a platinum booth, and then the salespeople want somebody who hasn't bought a platinum to have the platinum booth. Can we override it?
Sorry, yes. As the planner, you can bypass any of your rules. So you can manually go in and say, I'm going to force you to do this, or you can change the settings for that individual booth as well, and then assign it. Once it's assigned, no one else can have it.
Okay, perfect.
So dealer's choice. Okay, let's make that one not assigned as well. This one will be a medium booth, and we'll leave it for everyone and save. So I've created all of my booths. The last thing I want to do is I'm going to go back to my floor plan. I'm going to click into that floor plan. And now I can go ahead and request or add those booths onto the floor plan itself. So I'm going to say on the top left, add an exhibitor pin. Let's say that's for booth 1. Then I'm going to drag it into my spot number 1 here. There we go. And then let's add another one for booth number 2. And let's put that into, let's move. I know I have a 2 here, but I want to put it over here just because I think it stands out a bit more. And then save. Okay. So we've pretty much built out everything that we needed to build out. The last thing in the booth management tab here, if I click edit, is just saying, can I allocate the default booth to new exhibitors automatically? Is the booth plan visible or hidden to exhibitors? I'll make it visible. And I'll say all of my exhibitors can see. So platinum sponsors, for example, maybe they can see the floor plan and request, but then my normal sponsors, I'm not allowing them to. And then I can say, are all booths visible? Only the available booths that meet your criteria are available, or should they only see the booths after they have been assigned to that booth? For the demo today, I'm going to say all booths are visible. And then finally, if I scroll down, can the exhibitor request their own booth here? I'm going to say yes, but I have to approve their request. So again, if you're charging for booth space, you might say, you can give me 3 options for the booth that you want, and then determine on how I want to kind of structure, then I'll confirm one of the booths for you, which booth you have. Okay, let's go ahead and save.
Sorry, again, quickly.
Yeah, go for
when
it.
you say approved, do we get an email saying that someone has requested?
It'll come back into the floor plan itself. So I'll show you how it pops up and looks. You don't have an email automatically for that. However,
So we as the operations would only know by going into that.
yeah, that they have requested one. However, let's do a tangent and look at these exhibitor emails and see if we can create one. I don't think we have a filter for that automatically. Yeah, it doesn't give us an option for that. Well, let me see if it gives us custom fields. Sorry, I don't think we can, but I just want to test it as you've asked that question and we're on the line. Details. Yeah, no, we don't have any extra fields. So yeah, no, we don't have an automatic email for that. And I'm 100% sure we don't have exhibitor specific planner alerts, but while we're here, let's test it as well. Yeah, we don't have exhibitor as a category at all. So the answer to the question is you'll only see it by coming back in to the profile and seeing that the floor plans are requested.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so we've done the booth management, we set up our task, we created our packages, we created our settings. Custom fields I skipped, but this is if you wanted to create an additional question for them to answer, and it's a custom field, so it means that you can filter on it in other parts of your event. So for example, maybe I want to ask you a choice question, a text question. Maybe I want to know if you're bringing your own screens on site. So I'll say, please confirm the number of TV screens you will be bringing on site and setting up at your booth. I'll make it required, so you have to answer it. And then I'll set it up for all of my exhibitors. So that's just if you're creating an additional question for them to view. All right. Final thing, and then I'm going to ask you if you would like a break. I don't need one, but I want to check to see how you guys are doing. In the navigation, let's now go all the way to the bottom to Exhibitor Portal. And this is the portal itself. So this is where we brand the portal. It's also where we can create custom content for the portal itself. So the logo and the banner have automatically come over. I can replace them if I want to, and I am going to replace this one. Let's go for I'm replacing the banner. Let's actually go for this one. It would be in here. All right, I thought the banner would be in here. Let's go ahead and just use this miscellaneous photo as a banner here. Okay, so I've uploaded the banner or updated the banner rather. Let's stretch this out. And this is why it's always better to use our recommended sizes so you don't have to restretch and edit your kind of image here. But you can also create custom pages. And I would create a custom page. Maybe if I have FAQs that I want to give to the exhibitor, maybe I want them to know what's happening on site when they come on site. And it gives you the exact same designer as the usual site designer. So for example, maybe let's add an additional section across here. Let's make it a 3-column section. Maybe we'll add in some text in the middle that says FAQs.
So this is where we could put up general setup deliveries, examples of past exhibition stands.
Yeah. You could
Yep.
add images of those because you can add the image widget if you would like. So you can drop some images there if you'd like. Absolutely. Yeah, we can definitely do that there. You can also, there's custom link buttons. So if you wanted to link maybe to registration in your FAQs, register your booth staff as an additional place, or links that take them to your site or the attendee hub maybe is a good one to put in your FAQs because I always struggle to find the link for the correct attendee hub when I need to join the attendee hub. So yeah, you
Okay.
can put different things up there.
And can this is this per event again, or can we set up a template for all of the events?
It's per event, but if you build it in your template, it should also come across for you.
Okay.
All right. So I just put something random there just so that we can see it pulling through. But I'll go ahead and close that. So I've now fully edited my portal. Let's go back to, let me move this Teams panel from here. There we go. Let's go back into our portal itself. I'm gonna log in as the exhibitor again. Let's go back to our exhibitor list. Oh, I'll do one more thing as well. I'll add an attendee here, but I'm gonna log in as the exhibitor, so it opens in a new tab. And then while we're logging in, I'm just going to really quickly, in my overview, perform a test. And I'm just going to add someone. I don't want to do a registration because it's going to take one of your live registrations. So I'm just going to do it as a test. All right. Hopefully we don't have too many required fields today. Perfect. Submit. Okay, just so that we had someone that we could pull as a attendee or a booth staff member. Copy. Okay, so here's our portal. So now we're on the front end. This is our actual exhibitor portal that we've edited. You can see I've changed that banner. I can already see that they have access to view their reports and their leads. If I go down now into the task, actually still on the overview, this shows, do I have one open? I'll log back into my other profile after and show you, but all of this will update based on what's happening in the event for them so they can see all the content they've uploaded, how many tasks they have. And when they start to collect leads, they'll be able to see who's viewing their content on the attendee hub. Are people logging into their exhibitor booth rather? Are people downloading their documents, etc.? But in the navigation on the left, if we go into the tasks tab, this is where we can see those two tasks that we created earlier, like purchasing your lead capture license. If I say view, I can mark the task as complete, or I can go to where I need to purchase those licenses. And if I select purchase license, it takes me to where I can purchase those lead capture licenses. And remember those costs that you saw before? It actually is going to go into those costs, the $4.99, the $2.99. Those are kind of standard prices. And if I go to checkout, they'll pay directly here. And this payment specifically, back to your questions about who gets the money I was referring to, this would go to Cvent payment services, so directly to Cvent, unless you have that cost share in your contract set up. So that's definitely something, if you do want to have them have access to lead capture, that I would check out and speak to your account team to see if that is set up, what your split is, before people start purchasing licenses in this way.
Okay.
Okay, so that's licenses. Let's go into, so that was the tasks. Let's now go back to the profile. In their profile, now that we've given them the option to edit, notice they can come through and edit that information themselves. They can change their title, their description, all of their details now that I've given them the access. If you have built and you gave them content, go ahead.
Sorry, Keegan.
No,
Is
go for
this
it.
the admin person that you mentioned?
This is the admin who logs in. Yeah.
So we need to set up the admin. So when we sell the sponsorship package, we need the name of the admin person who will
Yeah.
then have access to this.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Exactly right. If you share the self sign up link, they will create their own admin. So it'll actually ask them who's the admin and they can put their names in.
Okay.
It's the only required person. You don't need boot staff before the event. It's not a requirement, but an admin is a requirement. So now when you guys were building, I know earlier you said you didn't have content. So we've changed the settings. So you guys should have content now. If you don't, let me know, because then something's a bit fishy. But I have my content tab where they can add their videos. If they have additional ones that they need to add, they can start adding files, and it gives them the type of files and the size that they can add, 20 megabytes max. And then the links as well, if they wanted to add a link to their homepage, for example, they can go ahead and add that link. Still in that navigation, they have their team tab where they can go ahead and add their team members. So if I say add booth staff here and search the attendee list, this is where now they would need to put in either the confirmation number or email address. It's probably not finding them because this is a test registrant that I did as opposed to a live registrant. And I don't want to do a live registrant because that will take from your registration counts. But they would search for the delegate by that confirmation number, and it's just a drop down. They would just select and say add, and they become a booth staff. I can go into my live account later and show you that if you need to see that fully.
Sorry, I'm going to ask another question. I apologize again.
Go for
So the admin, we get the admin, and then if they have 2 tickets, they go through the registration process with those 2 tickets.
Yeah.
And then the admin, either the admin or us, go find them and assign them to the booth.
Exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
Exactly right. And notice if I just switch the team to admins, they can continue adding more admins if they want. And the admin doesn't have to be in the event. It's just a person. Still in the navigation on the left, let's hop into floor plans. In the floor plans, they can see the actual floor plan as I've given them the option to see the floor plan. They can, let's zoom in slightly. There we go. They can see the available booths. They can see those that are unavailable or occupied. If I go ahead and select one of these booths, oh, why can't I select it? Did I not give the option? Oh, I don't meet the requirements. Let me go back in here to my booth. Remind myself what we chose. Oh, I don't think I gave. I thought I gave him a sponsorship level. Okay. It should have just given me the option to select that booth. I think I might have edited a setting. I just want to see if I can find it real quick. Okay, so default type. I didn't change the sponsorship levels for the exhibitor. That's what's wrong. So let's go back to that exhibitor list. And then let's give him an actual sponsorship level. Edit exhibitor. There we go. I'm going to say he's a sponsor, and let's make him a platinum sponsor. Perfect. Okay, let's save. And then let's refresh. Might take a minute to pull through. Let's do 2 refreshes. Okay, we'll give that a minute to come through, but in a minute, I should be able to select this as my booth, and then that request will come through on the other side for us. But let's keep moving through. We did the licenses already. If I continue through, we have reports. This is just where they can see and download their exhibitor specific reports. So 2 reports that they have. They can download all the leads, so every lead that they've collected at the event, all leads with appointment data. And this is if you have appointments turned on in your event. So appointments is an additional feature where people can create one-on-one appointments with each other, and they can have it either within the attendee hub or outside. Cvent appointments is that feature. So this is just saying, do you also want their appointment details so you can see who else they met with at the event?
And you don't know if we have that feature. I'm sure we do, but you're not sure.
Appointments,
Yeah.
we can check. Let's see. So I think you have appointments specifically for the attendee hub. I think this came up before when I was on site. We have different types of appointments. I don't think you have standalone appointments, but I do believe you have attendee hub specific appointments. So people on the attendee hub can make appointments with each other. We'll turn the attendee hub on in a second, and then we'll see if you have that option. That's the only way that I can check it for you.
Okay.
I think that's the one that you have, if I remember correctly when I was
So
on site.
people can't.
If it is
Sorry?
if you
We do have this. Because this is a different feature. So you're saying there's an attendee hub, which is individual appointments, and this is an individual to a booth appointment. Is that the difference?
are you speaking to me or someone else? Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, no,
Sorry.
you're good. You're good. Yeah, so this is appointments in Cvent. The feature is one-to-one. So it could be one-on-one exhibitor to attendee or attendee to attendee. The appointments allows you to do both. You set up the options that your attendees will have. The differentiation I was making is we have appointments that are just attached to the attendee hub, so they're not standalone. You have to have an appointment event. It's a feature within the
Okay.
attendee hub event rather. It's a feature within the attendee hub event. But then we also have standalone appointments, which don't have to tie to any type of event. You can have a appointment event, which is literally just people on their phones with the appointment feature popping up, which is a calendar, and they can make appointments back and forth with each other. So you don't have the standalone ones, but I believe you have the appointments in the attendee hub.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
No worries. Okay, so we looked at leads, and then here's that custom page that we created that, again, just generic has those two pieces of information that we added, that custom page for them. All right, so that's how it looks from the front end. The last thing that I want to do is show you what it looks like to the attendees. So back into my Cvent event, I'm going to do two things. First, let's go into the site designer. So exhibitor management can show up in one of two places for the attendees to be able to see, either on your registration site. Oh, sorry, what's going on there? Either on your registration site or in the back end of Cvent. Go away, slides. There we go. So I'm going to click done here. So the first thing I want to do is maybe show it on my website. So we have sponsorship information here as a page on your template. So I'm just going to add it here. In my build menu on the right, we're going to have a widget called Exhibitors, which I don't see here. There it is. So I'm going to click it, drag it across, let's put it on the top. And now what this will do is show all of the different exhibitors in the account. If I scroll down, I can change this to maybe not exhibitors. Maybe I want it to say sponsors. I can determine within the widget what you see. Do I want you to see their logos? Do I want you to see the logo but no name and no tagline? Do I want you to see their booth location if I've assigned one? Do I want you to see their categories, etc.? Let's turn on name and logo. It also is a pop-up. So you're saying what can they see within the pop-up here? If I go down, when it pops up, you can see how it kind of previews and looks. Do I want you to see the tagline, the social media links, etc.? So you can determine what they see. And this is for the registration site that we're looking at. So that's one area that the attendees can see it. The second area is going to be on the attendee hub. So to see that, I'm going to have to open up the attendee hub here. So let's go into website and app. manage website and app. And remember the attendee hub, I'm referring to both the attendee website and the event app. So I'm going to go live on the attendee hub here. I actually think I do have to register for this one. So I'm going to make a note of this. I do have to register an attendee for us to see the attendee website. So let's register Sam as an actual registrant. Okay, I've used Sam before. Let's go ahead with Sam. And let's just run through this registration process. Submit. Okay. Once that's processed, let's now go to the attendee website. Did I open it in a new tab? No, I did not. So attendee hub, website and app, manage website and app. Let's grab that link. If anyone else is online who has not gone through the attendee hub, it's not really a part of this session, but just to call out, this is where you'll actually stream and have the event itself. To log in, you use the details that you use to register, and then you're going to get a confirmation code via email or text if you've put your text number in. If you are collecting texts and you want people to receive these texts, you have to ensure people are giving you their country code, so UK +44, for example. Okay, so I'm on the attendee hub. My exhibitors are going to show up in this Expo tab that's automatically created. Once we have an exhibitor who is visible, this Expo tab automatically creates itself. If we say we have sponsors, it will do the same. It creates a sponsor page automatically. And if I hop in, I can now see the information for that sponsor. I can see their booth hours. If I scroll down, I can even see any links. I'm going to go back into the back end here. Let's come out of the attendee hub builder. This time, let's go back to the portal, and I am going to actually assign, there we go. I'm actually going to assign myself as a team member this time. So I'm going to say add booth staff. I need the confirmation number. So let's go to attendee list here. And let's pull that confirmation number. There we are. It then tells me who that booth staff is, who matches. I'm then going to say add. And now I have that booth staff turned on. I can delete them or remove them from here. But the point I wanted to show you is now if I go back to the exhibitor, and let's refresh again. It'll take a minute to pull through, but by adding that exhibitor, it'll actually give me a chat box on the right. It'll take a minute, or maybe more than a minute to pull up, and it'll actually tell me who the booth staff are for this actual booth itself. So that's just a nuance that I wanted to call out. All right, that was a lot of information about exhibitor management. I have a few additional slides. I wanted to pause and give you guys a break, but we've kind of gone through everything that I wanted to go through with you guys. I'm wondering if anyone has any questions about anything exhibitor management related. I'm just double checking my slides. Yeah, these are all holding slides on what we talked about. So does anyone have any questions about exhibitor management? anything that was unclear, anything that you thought you would have seen that I have not shown you. We've kind of gone end to end on the process, except for reports, but I don't have any leads to show you any reports, but there are standards event reports for leads if you were collecting leads for lead capture. And I apologize about my voice. Any questions? Okay, cool. In that case, I am going to let you guys out a little bit earlier than planned. Like I said, I didn't think we needed all the time. In today's session, the only thing I think perhaps I will send you some additional content around lead capture if you guys still have some questions around lead capture and how that would actually work. But in a nutshell, how lead capture would work from here is once we assign people their lead capture licenses. Did I ask for a lead capture license in one of these? I think I did. Let me see if it came through on the email. I'm just looking through these emails, these confirmation emails that I received, because I just want to show you. No, none of them came through. So what I'll do is let me go back into my profile and I can just show you for the lead capture specifically how that would look. So here we go. So this is what one of the lead capture emails would look like. So once someone purchases a lead capture license, and we can customize the emails, I'll go into the backend and show you that email designer actually. We looked at it already, but I'll show it to you again. This is the email that they'll receive, and this access code is going to be unique. It will be created for each person who's assigned a lead. What they do is they take that code. Let me join the Zoom from my phone, if you bear with. Oh, no, this is Microsoft Teams, not Zoom. So I can't join. I know what I'll do. If you humor me for 1 second, I'm going to create a Zoom really quickly so you can see my phone screen. And then I'll join that Zoom from my phone. Okay. Admit. Okay. You guys, oh no. I left the meeting. That's not what I wanted to do. So 1 more second. Let me just go back in here again. Let's mute that. Admit. Okay. So you guys, there we go. So I'm in. So auto questions. There we go. So let me share my screen. There we go. Okay. So I have here lead capture. Okay. So Cvent lead capture is literally just an app that you download from the Android store. I'm an Apple person, so it's the Google Play Store and the Apple iStore, Apple App Store. And all you're doing is you're putting in that access code. So if I go back to my emails, there we go. And FN, FUN. I guess I could have also just scanned the QR code. PJ6. So you would put in the code. It's then going to ask you, do you want to activate the device? So I'm going to say yes. I did this on my own account, so yeah, that's fine. I'll say yes, activate the device. And then here now I'm using lead capture. So all I would literally do, I don't have anyone with a QR code because this is not a real event. I just it's one of my test events, but I would literally just say add lead. I would scan that person's QR code, and then I can say whether I'm entering the lead manually for their profile if I don't have, or rather they don't have a QR code. The step that I can't show you now is the next step comes up with a text box so that you can put in the notes of whatever the lead is, whatever you're communicating about, and then you go ahead and save the lead. So let me see if I have, let me just double check to see if I have anyone in this event actually. I won't have anyone based on that, but let's put in a name. I'm thinking I might have registered in this event, so we'll see. Okay. Okay, so if I had scanned that lead, this would be the next page that shows up, and I can say, do I want to send him a message or do I want to qualify the lead? Now, if you go back to thinking about when we set up exhibitor management and there were those qualifying questions, so these are now the qualifying questions. So I can remove them if I want to, show them if I want to. I'll say yes. If there was, we could create like a free text box, but I'll say this. Attendee wanted more info on our event program and costs. I could go ahead and save, and that's it. Lead's done, qualified, captured, and I move right on to the next lead. I can send them a message if I want. Maybe I'll say, hey, Keegan, thanks for connecting. You can also use our Cvent IQ to personalize that message if you wanted to. Let's see what it comes up with. It's a lot longer. But yeah, I have that message. I can go right ahead and send that message directly. And that's it. I've qualified one lead and then starts again, start qualifying the next lead and the next lead and the next lead. And that's how lead capture itself actually works. Really simple to set up and actually use. Any questions about lead capture? Again, I know that was a real quick one. Okay. No problemo. So in that case, guys, that's everything that I did want to take you guys through. We have no questions, so as all, no, I don't have the recording. You do. Sorry, go ahead.
I've got the
Go ahead,
recording,
Yeah.
but I have a question about badging,
Go for it.
which I don't need Thomas, Julie, or Gabriella on.
Okay.
If they want to, I don't know if we're done, they can leave. I don't know if Keith, Olivia need to stay on this either because we're, just so they know, we're looking at badge system using the on arrival system with the badging. And I have a question about it. So if you're going to use it, you might want to hang on for a minute. But I need Frank to stay on because he's helping me with it. Is that okay? Oh yeah,
That's okay
Steve, you
for
don't
me.
need to. You can go, Steve. I think you're done.
Cool. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much, everyone. It was nice seeing your faces, and I will see you guys tomorrow for e-marketing. We definitely don't need 2.5 hours for e-marketing tomorrow. That's one of, at least in my opinion, a very relatively easy feature to use in Cvent. So I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Thanks for joining. Have
Thank
a good
you.
one.
Thanks, Keegan. See ya.
You're welcome. Have a
So-
good one.
Keegan.
Yes, sir.
So Emma created an event called Test Event On-Site Registration Leatherhead Office.
Okay.
And we have the Zebra ZD621 printer. I have it says, yeah, that bottom one there.
This one?
And yeah, no, the very bottom.
Oh,
It says
literally
Leatherhead
test.
Office.
Got you.
Yeah. So I spent 2 days trying to set this printer up
Okay.
for the on arrival. And what I realized is our Android tablet does not have the same features that an iOS tablet has.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get it to print double badges. So a flipped badge, if that makes sense. So if you can see here, this is the one badge,
Mhm.
and then it should print the second one here. so you can then fold them over. I
Yeah.
cannot get this one to print. And I don't know if there's something in the setup that I'm not quite getting right. And I was hoping you could take a look at it to see.
It says double-sided, which is correct. Let's see.
Because even when I click preview, the preview comes up correct.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely set up the correct stock. You say double-sided, 6x4, and it's a 12x4 stock. So that's correct. Double-sided mirrored, which is fine. And there's only one half is like when it prints, is it the whole thing on one half, or is it like one half is
It's
missing?
printing the whole singular badge, but it should print this one in reverse,
Yeah.
like mirrored, and it's not doing that.
I mean, the badge is correct for what you've said. I'm just checking everything to
Yeah,
see
this
if
is
there's. The badge is correct. So I don't know what's going on. And when you try to print, you don't get like, yeah, this is, oh, and this is only measuring 6, isn't it? Not 12. But it's mirrored, so it should be fine. Yeah, it's set up correctly, so I'm not sure why you're getting that issue.
okay.
Um,
So most likely, if it's not if I've set it up correctly in Cvent, then then it's probably a printer issue. Because I've even gone onto the iOS onto the iPad and noticed that iPad gives you an option to do a double page,
okay.
whereas the Android does not.
Yeah,
So in the on
maybe.
arrival, there's like a different setting. That took me an entire day to find out.
That doesn't
So
surprise me.
that was a waste of it of an
Yeah,
entire day.
we hide things sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone in my on-site team here today. I'm literally looking around. No one else is here
Okay.
from that department. So, but let me
I've got a meeting with Chris tomorrow about this, so I'll talk to him about it, and maybe if there's a way that we can get somebody from your team just to help us in that final
yeah.
connect the dots.
What printer are you using? The
A
exact printer?
Zebra ZD621.
621 using an Android. Is it called Android?
We've got an
Android?
Android, like it's a Lenovo or Samsung device, and we have an iPad. Hold on.
Have you tried printing it on the iPad? Was that any better?
Right, I'm just going to, because I don't know if Keith and Olivia will be going down this route.
Yeah, I was asking when have you tried printing it from the iPad?
I have, and it's the exact same outcome. Is it
Okay, so
only
then,
prints one?
okay. So I don't know the answer now, but I'm just
Okay.
taking a note of, I was typing, I just took a note of what you've asked. I'm slacking it to one of my colleagues who I'm hoping is online. Give it 1 minute. If he doesn't reply, then I will ask. And oh, here we go.
Yeah, so when I go into printer setup on the iPad, badge orientation and printing format are options that the Android does not offer.
Right. He says to me that the ZD621 printer is a single-sided printer. What does that mean?
No, it's not. It's not a double-sided. It's just you print one right side up and one
And then
upside
it comes
down, and then
in.
you fold
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. But I don't know. He told me that as if that's supposed to answer the question. Okay, let me ask. Let me let them figure it out, and then I will email you as soon as I've heard back.
Okay.
Um, yeah, give me. It's 4 o'clock now, so I feel
I'm
like
done Personally, I'm done. Well, I'm done for the day. I think you are.
Okay, cool.
Arthur,
Yes, Keith.
Where did you get the Zebra printer? Did you buy one?
We purchased them via Zebra by a retailer, and then we've got this is a trial. We're trying to get Steve to sign this off. So we bought them separately. We're going to order the paper separately. We're not doing I forget what it's called, the in the box, the Cvent in the box is the package that we can event in a box. We're not doing that. So we started out with one printer, and then we're looking at which is this one.
Right.
Yeah.
And then one more question on the right on the iPad, not the iPad, on the printer itself. When you go into the iPad, the tablet settings, is it still set to one-sided?
So no, when I finally went on to the iPad, because it was Chat GPT that taught me this. It said sometimes they have different options. So I've got portrait flipped in that version in the Apple and the iOS.
In the iOS,
Yeah.
because he's saying it should still be set to one-sided.
So I've got portrait flipped, and then printing format I have one-sided.
One-sided, yeah. So that's fine. Yeah, I'm not sure. So first check, badge type is mirrored versus double-sided. Yep. On arrival printer settings, print format, it should be one-sided. Yep. Stock size matches exactly. Yeah, I'm sure we checked that. And then he said recalibrate the printer, and if nothing changes, we might have to look into it more.
So I'm just wondering if there's a certain format on the printer setup that Cvent use that they could say, right, this is actually the format that we use, the settings.
I can ask. I'll ask. So what I'll do is I have the badge here, and then let me just so it's a ZD621, and you're using a Android tablet.
I have both an Android and an Apple. Yeah.
And both are not working correctly. And it's just printing the one side. Or it's not mirroring, it's just printing one half.
It's just printing one page.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got it twice to print one page and then skip 2 badges and then print it again. Oh. That's as close as I've gotten to a complete name badge.
Yes, odd. I'm not sure, but I've sent it to them and we'll see what they come back and say, and I'll email you as soon as I've heard back. I don't know if it's something he'll have to test, but I'll come back to you.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be today though, just managing your expectation.
That's fine. Like I said, I'm going. So
no worries. Yeah, he's saying he thinks it's a badge or print setup issue. So okay, cool. We'll look at it for you.
Okay, perfect.
Alrighty. Well, I will see you tomorrow then.
Okay. Well, I'll see you. I won't be here on the call tomorrow, but thank you very much for today.
Okay, no worries. I'll see you guys. Have a great one.
Olivia, Keith, good seeing you guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.